I'm calling myself out with this one, but if you have ever found yourself as an entrepreneur chasing strategies or marketing hacks and sales tactics only to end up with that dreaded feeling stuck, exhausted, and wondering why nothing is working, then this episode's for you. Because what if the missing piece wasn't doing more, but actually being more? Welcome to the Mind of George Show, or welcome back. But if it's your first time, it is the show for entrepreneurs who know that scaling their business isn't just about strategies and tactics. It's about breaking free from outdated business models, copy and paste marketing tactics, and mindset limitations, all so that you can grow and scale your business with ease and impact by mastering your mindset, refining or building your customer journey, and creating marketing that truly resonates and connects with who you are and your audience. And today's podcast, I'm diving into a lesson that hit me hard, and it was reinforced by the overwhelming amount of responses I got on social media when I posted it. This lesson, if ignored, will not just slow you down. It will quietly destroy your business from the inside out. And this is something that I'm not only sharing from knowledge, it's something I've walked through with experience one too many times. I'm running out of fingers, but I'm all done with these. And so in this episode, we break down the hidden trap that makes business feel like an uphill battle, why alignment and not effort is the key to long-term success, the brutal truth about why some entrepreneurs scale while others burn out, the simple but very powerful integrity audit that changed everything for me. And I promise you, if you take time to answer this question, it will change it for you as well. And how to shift from chasing success to embodying it effortlessly. And so if you've ever felt like you're working harder or working more but getting less in return, this episode will show you why, and more importantly, specifically how to fix it. And so without further ado, let's dive in. All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Mind of George Show. Today we're diving into a lesson that I have to share because I posted this on Facebook and Instagram and the response was overwhelming. But the reason I want to share this lesson is because if it's ignored, it will, not can, it will quietly destroy your business from the inside out. And I used to fall in this belief that thinking that success was about knowing more or doing more or pushing harder, but I was dead wrong. It was the more-itis and the more trap. The biggest mistakes that I made in business and that I've repeated to make and still learn from and grow from every day weren't because I didn't know enough, but because I wasn't living what I was teaching at the deepest level. Or I grew as a person and I didn't grow my business to adjust, and leading to that word that we all love, that we all hear, that I don't think most people understand, which is alignment. And this is really, really important because every entrepreneur, it doesn't matter how long you've been in it, how successful you've been, what you've navigated, we all hit a point where the strategies and tactics stop working. And we get stuck in that trap of not knowing why. And today we're going to break this down. So the two quotes, and if you have a pen and a piece of paper, I want you to remember these quotes because these were the two that triggered this podcast episode that spoke straight to my soul. And they were shared from an incredible pastor at 2819, one of the churches that I follow. And it was like God just tattooed my heart with these. And he said, number one, our only real security in life is our integrity. The only real security we have in life is our integrity. And number two, and this is the one that hit me to my core, if serving is beneath you, then leading is above you. And so I want to break this down in a very succinct way to focus, because the responses that I got, this resonated deeply. And I think it's an important topic. And it's also not celebrated and talked about often because it's not quote unquote sexy, and it's not flashy, and it's not like out there on the internet in front of cars and everything else, but it's your soul. And it's the happiest part of your existence, is like being in alignment at the deepest level. And so this concept, like, we have to understand there's so many like false beliefs that we fall into. One of them is we think, myself included, and early on in my life and my career, I thought this as well, is that we think that business success is just about marketing strategies, offers, and sales techniques. And now if that's you, and you can have business and do business without a soul, if you can live in the transactional world, then this podcast probably isn't the best for you. But I personally know and choose to believe that everybody who listens to this show has two missions at hand. One is to make a difference, and the other is to make income to make that difference. But these beliefs of like, it's just marketing, it's just strategies, it's just offers, it's just sales techniques, that's not a reality. The reality is the biggest breakdowns that we face happen when we aren't in alignment to what we're teaching what we're selling, or even worse, what we're promoting. And if you're listening to this, I know you've probably seen this before, where you've seen somebody who you've followed for years, and then all of a sudden you see them promoting an offer or promoting a service, and you're like, that doesn't feel right. Or being an affiliate for someone, and you're like, that doesn't feel aligned. And that's as a consumer. So you can imagine what it feels like as the person creating it. And so we see this, and I've fallen into this. We see the health coaches who burn out, right? A coach preaches self-care and balance, yet they're pulling all-nighters, skipping meals, and running on caffeine. And when we operate like that, our clients, our audience, the people that are hearing our messages, that are on calls with us, they can unconsciously sense that something is off, because people don't just buy information. What they're really enrolling into is your energy and embodiment, because they're building trust along the surface. Or think about the entrepreneur, the business coach, who literally has convinced himself, and this is me, that I'll sleep when I'm dead. And what it ends up costing you is like the things that matter the most in your life, like time with your children, or you end up on airplanes for 160 days a year. And that previous version of me. And yet I was teaching people to work in harmony and to have containers and to have time and to have boundaries, but I was disrespecting them my own. Or you have the relationship coach who struggles with their own relationships. They teach deep connection, but in their personal life, they avoid the hard conversations. They avoid the catalytic conversations. And at the deepest core, what we have to understand about our business, whether you're a product business, a service business, if you coach people, if you mentor people, if you sell courses, the easiest way to remember this is that if you're not living it, your clients won't believe in it either. And I'll give you another one. I'll give you business coaches. And this was me. This was me for years. 5-6 years ago, I was the business coach that wouldn't sell my own offer. I would tell clients to raise their prices and charge their worth. But behind the scenes, I was living in imposter syndrome. I was living in doubt. I was living in insecurity. And I was genuinely terrified of making offers. And it took me years to figure out why. And it's because I was too busy hiding in the offers instead of looking in the mirror and applying my advice to myself. And the gap between advice and action creates resistance. It's this deep inner pull and pain that literally makes business feel like it's a constant uphill battle. And the easiest way to describe this is that our business will always reflect ourselves. Your business will always reflect you. It is a projection of our internal reality. And so if we are out of alignment on the inside, our results will be out of alignment as well. And this becomes a massive, massive bottleneck in business, because when you're not in integrity with your work, it leaks into everything. That means like when you wake up and you're dreading getting on calls, or you have clients in your calendar that you were excited to sign, but then you get off the phone and you gossip about them, either in your own brain, in your notes, you're frustrated, you're overwhelmed, you're feeling like you don't want to do this. It makes marketing feel harder, if not impossible, because you're not fully confident in your message. It means you start to doubt the things that you're saying. It means it's always trying to find the next way or use every single tool. Sales feel horrendously forced because we don't believe in what we're selling. And so then we're trying to convince ourselves to then convince somebody else that this is the right path. And then it affects our clients at a massive, massive level, because clients don't stay engaged because they can sense the disconnect, or they start to distance themselves, or they say, hey, something feels off, or I'd love to get on a call and renegotiate this relationship. And this is where the term Solomon's paradox comes in, because I was caught in this trap for years. I was giving so much advice to people that I truly, truly believed in, but it was lip service. And for those of you that listen to this podcast long enough, 3-4 years ago, I was also 100 pounds heavier. I was a paleo food blogger, a New York Times bestselling author, and I was teaching entrepreneurs that the most important relationship they had was with themselves. But I was hiding and coaching it to everybody else because I was afraid to apply it to myself, because I was out of alignment. And Solomon's paradox is genuinely the paradox of giving advice that we won't take ourselves. And so I was preaching these things and I was preaching these strategies, but behind closed doors, it was completely different. So the longer and longer and longer that I went on, the harder and harder it was to stay consistent in that message, and the more resistance I had to business. And there were quite a few moments in my life, catalytic moments, a divorce, and losing everything in the business, to now where I've rebuilt it all now. But there was one prayer that changed everything for me. And I had a friend and a mentor say this to me. And he said, I just want you to pray for one thing. He said, I want you to say, God, show me all the areas in my life and business where I've asked clients, friends, or family to do things that I'm not consistently doing for myself. And you want to talk about a sobering truth pill? It hit me like a ton of bricks, because the moment my pen went to paper, it started flowing out like water. And it was a long, long list. And truthfully, it was about bringing awareness to the symptoms or the opportunities where things were broken. So not that I could correct them overnight, not that I could sprint at them as fast as possible, not that I could go be really, really intense and hustle my way in, but that I could have grace with myself, that I could look at it from a place of grace and say, okay, cool, something's off. Something's been missing, and it's probably me. But this isn't an invitation to condemn myself for the past. It's an invitation to protect myself in the future. And so I went through an entire audit. And so if any of this is landing for you, here's exactly how to fix this and step into integrity, alignment, passion, that fuel inside of you that you're like, I don't care what hurdle shows up in front of me. I don't care what roadblock shows up in front of me. I don't care if it works or it doesn't work, because I'm loving doing it. I'm going to figure it out. Integrity, alignment, like the things that keep us going, that build businesses that make a difference, that take clients on journeys that make results, is you just have to follow 3 simple steps. And step number 1 is you have to audit yourself first. And the easiest way that I've ever come to do this is asking myself one hard question. Would I buy from me right now? If I was my client, or if I was a prospect in my business, and I took them through my process and they got to know me and they got to see me behind the scenes, not the projected version, not the version they see on Zoom, but if they were standing in this office with me, if they were sitting here watching me live my life, watching me be a father, watching me run the business, watching me make content, watching me execute the things that I do, if they were to witness that in my full integrity, would they buy from me right now? And the mission in the audit is to look at where your actions and words don't match up, and not from a place of shame, not from a place of fault, not from a place of blame, but from a place of opportunity, from a place of embodiment and alignment to have a clear path of the things that we get to execute on. And then number 2 is embody before you teach. I truly believe this, and I think everybody listening to this resonates this as well. Our energy speaks way louder than our words. And all of us can think of moments where we've been in a keynote, or we've been to a talk, or we've been in a meeting, and we've heard the words that somebody is saying, and instantly we're like, we don't believe a word that they're saying. I saw how they were mean to the receptionist. I saw how rude they were to the waitress last night. Something isn't adding up here. Our energy speaks way louder than our words. So when you embody what you teach, it's meaning be the ideal client, like be the embodied example of what it is that you're selling. And instead of forcing business to work, trying to put a square peg in a round hole or convince everybody, focus on becoming the person who naturally attracts that success, who puts themselves in the room, who puts themselves in the conversations. And it really boils down to practicing the things that we preach. And number 3 is shifting from strategy to service. Because I have a core belief in doing this for a long time and having it all and losing it all and having it all again multiple times, that business is not just about making money. Money is a byproduct of service. It's about serving at the highest level. It's about serving your customers and actually caring about the results that they get. It's about serving your team and helping them become the best versions of themselves. And most importantly, it's about serving yourself for you to become that future version of yourself that's going to be able to maintain, manage, and scale the company of your desires. An easy way to remember this is you can't scale your business until you scale yourself first. But when you operate from this deep sense of integrity, not from shame, not from blame, not from fault, not from guilt, but integrity, quote unquote selling stops feeling like selling and just starts feeling like alignment and service. It feels like a gift that you give to the world. It feels like confidence in what you offer. It feels like confidence in knowing that people are going to get the results. But here would be my challenge for you. If you feel stuck in business at any point, just ask yourself, am I truly living what I'm teaching? Because when you are, everything shifts. And it's a question that should be celebrated. And it's a question that I feared too much in my life. I was afraid to look in the mirror. I was afraid to have the conversation. And nobody in the world was condemning me. I was condemning myself. And it also didn't dilute results that I was getting people, but it felt like a torturous prison. Or as a podcast that we released or is coming up with Coach Karen on the Gilded Cage, it felt like a cage that I had the key to, but I kept locking myself into. And so my invitation is to take a moment to celebrate, like to have a conversation with yourself. Celebrate all the things that have gotten you here, but realize what's gotten us here isn't going to get us there. And it's an invitation for growth. And those two quotes, the ones that I said earlier, and I almost forget them when I'm talking, but the one that I loved that cut me to the core was, if serving is beneath you, then leading is above you. Allowed me to have a place to focus my energy and direction on what's going to get me results. That's my clients, that's my team, and that's myself. And then the place that true happiness, true power, true confidence comes from is understanding that our only real security is our integrity and the willingness of us to explore it and to keep it in alignment. And so it's an important topic, and it's not a popular topic, but they're a fun conversation, and they also don't have to be done alone. This is why I have mentors and I have an entire group of men around me. Like last night I met with 7 men, all entrepreneurs, all men of faith, and we were crying. We were sharing it all. We were reflecting. We were iron sharpening iron and holding each other accountable, and then growing in the process with joy. And so my invitation for you is to give yourself the gift of self-reflection. Give yourself the gift of an audit. Give yourself the gift of this information so you have a clear workout plan ahead of you to be able to embody everything it is that you teach, to be able to be the example, to be in integrity, which is where scaling a business starts to feel easy. And if this resonated, I invite you to take action on it. And if you know anybody who would benefit from hearing from it, if you know anybody who could benefit from you doing it with, finding an entrepreneur that you're friends with and being like, hey, let's do this together. Let's do this audit together. Let's be honest. Let's have accountability. Then I invite you to share it with them. And I'm going to put this out there that if you're feeling out of alignment in any way, shape, or form and need support, just send me a DM on Instagram. You know my Instagram, it's George Bryant. We can set up 15 minutes. We can get coffee. We can pour into each other. I'll expose myself and all of mine, my areas of fitness, my areas of food, relationships, friendships, business, and we can celebrate the path together and also work on implementing them together. But remember at the deepest level that our products, our services, and our businesses are just vehicles for service. And service is what the world is screaming for, and the world wants all of you. And so this is my invitation and permission slip to please bring all of you and celebrate the process and have an absolutely beautiful day. I absolutely love you to pieces. I appreciate you. And when this episode comes out, I think we're going to be 3 to 4 weeks before the event in Montana. And if you want a crash course in this, to be around other entrepreneurs, 20 of them that will speak into you, that will break free from the old strategies and tactics and the outdated business models, and to come have mindset work and the deepest levels of customer journey and models that you can execute in alignment and marketing to tie it all together that resonates with who you are in your soul, shoot me a DM that says event and I will send you all the details. I'm sure there'll be 3 or 4 seats left by the time you listen to this, because this one is going quick. But no matter what, just remember that relationships will always beat algorithms. And just like this episode says, the most important one is with you and the level of integrity that you have with yourself. And so I love you to pieces. I appreciate you. And if this resonated in any way, if there's any things to add, if there's any tweaks, if there's anything you want to share, just please shoot me a DM on Instagram because I would love to read it. So have a beautiful day, and I'll see you in the next episode.